Government economic managers maintain their optimism on the continuing growth of the country's economy. They forecast the economy to grow at least 7% this year. This report.
Government spending, which was quite slow for the first quarter to register a 5.2% GDP growth, is expected to pick up for the rest of the year. This was the consensus presented by the President's economic team to the joint congressional oversight hearing led by Senator Francis Escudero and Congressman Isidro Ungab. Budget Secretary Florencio Abando measures are being implemented to improve the pace of spending, guided by the release of Administrative Order 46 ordered by the President to enhance greater efficiency in government spending. Despite the lower GDP growth, NEDA Secretary ARSENIO expressed the fundamentals of the economy are strong and the projected forecast of 7 to 8% is attainable.
The stable macroeconomic fundamentals of the country, positive business sentiment, and increasing competitiveness should encourage more investors, domestic and foreign alike, to firm up their operations in the Philippines. Consumer spending is still expected to be the main driver of growth in the near term. Supported by upbeat consumer confidence, moderate inflation, sustained inflow of remittances, and better employment opportunities, household consumption is expected to remain upbeat. Based on the latest expectation survey conducted by the BSP, consumer sentiment for the next 12 months remains positive as respondents expect improvements in their incomes for the year ahead.
On March 30 of this year, the President signed Administrative Order number 46, which outlines measures that all NGAs of the executive branch and GOCCs must implement to address these issues. I will briefly discuss the measures covered by the AO. Section 2 of the AO covers measures that seek to prompt faster budget execution through measures requiring lump sum funds to be disaggregated into specific programs and projects, and document requirements such as network plans, geotag photos, implementation guidelines have to be submitted at the soonest possible time. The AO also requires agencies to submit to DBM, copy furnish the Office of the Cabinet Secretary, implementation plans for their programs and projects under 2015 GAA. This must detail the quarterly financial and physical plans and targets.
Congressman Isidro Ungab proposed a balanced budget to ensure government can better spend the funding provided for by Congress in the yearly General Appropriations Act. Government has always been in deficit spending since 1997. Finance Secretary must stress that reforms continue to improve government spending.
If it's really hard to institute changes in the bureaucracy, would it not be possible instead to target for a balanced budget, considering that the figures would show that we are really slow in disbursements. So why not instead aim for a balanced budget and prepay some outstanding loans instead?
We need to catch up things, no? If you look at our infrastructure vis-a-vis our neighbors, it pales in comparison. We'll compete with our neighbors in terms of attracting investments. In terms of investment in our people, we still need substantial investments in our people. I think debt per se is not bad. I think what we need to monitor is the relationship of debt vis-a-vis our capacity to pay that debt. No? And the past 4.5 years of the Aquino administration, we've improved that capacity, as evidenced by the relationship of debt to total GDP, which we've shown to have declined, as evidenced by the ratio of our interest expense in relation to our revenues and our expenditures. It's also declined. No, so I think a balanced budget will not help us. It would hurt us.
Senator Francis ESCUDERO, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, said one major reason for slow spending is the absorptive capacity of a government agency in the implementation of its programs and projects. ESCUDERO cited the school building program of the Department of Education. ESCUDERO said one factor is late is due to the listing of schools to be built and schools to be rebuilt destroyed by natural calamities. ESCUDERO also cited how schedules in implementation can impact on the supply of materials and manpower in the completion of projects. Secretary Abando stressed the delay in the construction of school buildings can also be traced to the need to come up with new models which could adapt to climate change, given the impact of Yolanda's massive destruction in 2013.
But I think the issue, Secretary, is the absorptive capacity of the agencies. Even if you appropriate huge amounts of money, the fact is, they can. In fact, Secretary Abando himself admits, kaya nga gusto niyang gawing 1 year na lang yung validity ng budget instead of 2 years. But if you do that, ang buong school building program ng DepEd wipe out. Because they're spending it the following year. I will agree with you, Secretary Abando, on that, but you have to understand, wala tayong school building program for that current year. Because DepEd, for the past 10 years, has been unable to give us a list of classrooms that they will construct for the following year.
It did not help that, we had to be slowed down further by, the decisions brought in the DAF and DAP case. But I think there is really a lot of room for improvement still in pushing our agencies, because if you look at the releases, we have done dramatically well over the past years, and it's really in the area of obligation that there is much work to be done, which is really the area of planning, procurement, and execution.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.